Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this video, I want to share with you the story of how, through the maritime Silk Roads, Islam was able to spread to various continents across the world, east and west, thanks to trade and entrepreneurship. And contrary to many misconceptions where people believe that Islam was only spread through the sword, which a lot of people like to say, it is actually not true. And while there were wars in the history of Islam, just like any other religion or any other civilization really, Islam was mainly spread through trade and entrepreneurship through the early ages. And in this video, we'll discover exactly how that happened and the story behind it all. Let's dive right in. To understand how Islam was spread through the early ages through trade, we must first learn about the maritime Silk Roads. You see, the Silk Roads are amongst some of the most important routes in our collective history. It was through these roads that relations between East and West were established, exposing diverse regions to different ideas and ways of life. Notably, these included the diffusion of many of the world's major religions, including Islam. After the advent of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula in the 7th century CE, Islam started its expansion towards eastern regions through trade that was encouraged by the development of these maritime Silk Roads. And Muslims were known to have a commercial talent that was encouraged by Islam, as well as excellent sailing skills. And we all know that our Prophet ﷺ was an excellent trader himself. And so these Muslims could monopolize the east-west trade of these maritime Silk Roads that was connecting various major ports of Eastern Asian regions together. And these commercial ships that belonged to Muslims had to stop at these various ports to be supplied with water and food as they went on their journeys, or whether they needed to be repaired or wait for changes in wind direction. And these interactions with the locals, every time they stopped, resulted in further expansion of Islam to the people that were living in these important coastal cities. These cities were located in the Indian subcontinent, in China, or in the more distant southeastern islands of modern Indonesia and Philippines. And it is believed that Islam first arrived in these southeastern regions by the 7th century. So Muslim merchants from the Arabian Peninsula had to pass through these islands of the south via these maritime Silk Roads for trade to reach China's ports. And on top of that, in addition, according to historical accounts, Muslim traders came to the Indonesian islands because of the rare spices that were present there. And it is believed that some of these merchants that settled in Indonesia ended up blending with the local people, and that's how they learned about Islam. And after the arrival of Muslim merchants in Sumatra Island, the kings of the island started to follow Islam as well, which further facilitated this integration of Islam into the trade roads up until the 12th century AD and beyond. And archaeological evidence of the adoption of Islam amongst the royalty of these regions can be seen on tombstones that were engraved with the date of the Islamic year of Sumatran kings of the 13th century. And regarding the islands of the Philippines, there are archaeological records such as porcelain items that were unearthed that belonged to the Tang dynasty, which was in 618 to 907 CE. And these items were imported to the Philippines by Muslim traders. And that attests to the presence of Muslims before the 10th century in that region. And moreover, in the 13th century, contacts between Muslim merchants and the local population, as well as commerce through the Silk Roads between the south of Philippines and other neighboring regions, such as Brunei, Malaysia, or Indonesia, encouraged the spread of Islam amongst their local population. So therefore, one would be able to say very safely that Islam arrived in Southeast Asia in a peaceful way through trade and interactions between Muslim merchants and the locals. And Islam ended up blending with these existing cultural and religious influences of the Southeast Asian regions. So it's beautiful when we look at this story and learn about the history of how Islam was spread towards these regions through trade and through entrepreneurship. And more so, even today, we require Muslim entrepreneurs more than ever. In our current modern day, the excellence and the ability and the skill of Muslims being traders and entrepreneurship has slowly died off. Even though we have a very powerful legacy of entrepreneurship and trade when we look at our history, right now it is not so common within the Muslim population to find Muslim entrepreneurs. And that's why with Ummahpreneur, this is our purpose today, to help spread and revive and nurture Muslim entrepreneurship throughout the Ummah, so we can bring about Muslim entrepreneurs that interact with people from all over the world, that create amazing services and products, and that are able to change the narrative and image of Islam that is so often portrayed in the media. So we hope that you enjoyed this video, that you learned a little bit more about our history and how Islam was spread in the early ages. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to share it with your network and with others, and let us know in the comments, did you learn something new today? Did you learn something new about our Islamic history? And if you did enjoy this video, of course, make sure to like and subscribe this video for more. And I'll see you in the next one, inshallah. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.